Sagittarius, this is your week ahead astrology forecast by Astrology Motivation from Born Without Boundaries. In these weekly readings, we review the major planetary aspects and transits and how they impact your natal sun and what that means in real life for your bottom line. We're going to start off really broad with the big stuff that everybody should know about, and then I will focus information down into Sagittarius specific info, and then we'll break things down into the decans so I can see exactly how your natal suns are being impacted, especially compared to other Sagittarians, because you're not all going to be impacted the same way. If you don't know exactly where in Sagittarius your natal sun is located, that's okay. You don't need to. For this video, to enjoy this video, all you need to know is your birth date. That's all you need to know. And because I will translate your birth date into the degrees and vice versa. I'll translate the correlating degrees to the birth date ranges, so you'll know in and around with regards to your birthday what's going on. But to get the most accurate reading, definitely go grab yourself a natal chart after you finish watching this video, of course. Natal charts are free and easy to get. You just search free natal chart or free birth chart and a bunch of websites pop up. You'll need your birth date, your birth time, and your birth location, and you put that in, and bam, in like seconds you'll get your natal chart and you'll know exactly where your sun is located. So Sagittarius, let's start off really broad. This is for the week, of July 4th through July 10th of 2019. I do definitely want to show you that I am selling these hats, and I would love it if you would purchase them. It would be a huge contribution to the channel if you would buy one of my zodiac hats. They're available in white and black, and all zodiac signs are available. So check that out on my website, www.bornwithoutboundariestarot.com, to get yours today. So this is July 4th through the July 10th. There's a lot of stuff going on that's really powerful, especially with regards to the moon. We just had a full moon yesterday. It was it was a full moon in full moon in Capricorn. So there's a lot of sort of this breaching the difference, like home life balance, like work and home balance, right? This sense of our career, what's been going on in terms of money making, in terms of corporations, in terms of laws, rules, regulations, what has been kept hidden or secret, what do we need to release and let go of, what needs to be revealed, across from the sun that was conjunct to Mercury. Now, this starts on the 4th. This video starts on the 4th. What does that mean for you guys then? What does that mean? The 4th, the moon is conjunct to Pluto. It's conjunct to Pluto while Pluto is still sextile to Neptune, which means psychic energy, psychic ability, those mysteries and those spirituality really starting to come out, as well as a trine to Jupiter is happening at the same time. So everything is more volumized. It's just bigger and impossible to not notice. So there is this sense of real shifts and revelations that are coming out this week because of the placement of the moon. So major emotional energy and emotional release, and even psychic energy, even for people that don't usually get it. Just being in tune and feeling things, not feeling as in emotions, feeling as in vibrations and instincts. Something is being triggered deep inside of us. We know something's coming. You can feel it, like you can feel the rattling of a train on the tracks before you see it. And that's just, it's there, it's coming. We also have Mars transiting from Leo into Virgo this week. That happens at the very end of this week on the 10th. That is actually very difficult energy. Mars in Virgo is very fastidious. It's very pedantic. It likes everything to be expected and in its place. And when it handles things, it's very exacting and detail focused. To the point where it could even obsess over things or really get angry if things aren't running on schedule. So it's not the easiest energy, Mars in Virgo. Um, we have Venus conjunct Mars still this whole week. Even when Mars transits on the 10th into Virgo, they're still conjunct each other. Highly sexual, sensualized energy. Definitely this sense of desire and romanticism while we are in Leo. But when Mars moves into Virgo, there's also that sense of hidden desires, hidden sensuality. You know, you're all calm on the surface, but what lies beneath? Really interesting energy as well. By the 6th of this week, we have the Sun squaring Chiron while it's sextile to Uranus. This says we want change, we want to rebel, we want to do things differently because of hits that our ego is taking, or because of how we've been feeling about ourselves, maybe even just confronting past traumas or even physical issues that we've been having. And this kind of makes us want to be different or do things differently. And then we have Venus square Uranus all week. So that sense of feeling even surprising yourself in a way of what you're attracted to, or things that are unexpected curveballs you didn't even realize coming out in finances, coming out in romance, coming out in what you desire. Feeling odd, feeling weird and strange, or being attracted to things that are strange or weird and not necessarily things that you normally would be attracted to. This only lasts a week. It can, especially conjunct Mars, this could really have this energy of going or stepping outside of your relationship if you're in one, because you just want a rebellion, you just want to do something different, and it won't, anything that happens with Venus square Uranus won't last long, but you'll remember it forever kind of energy. But ultimately, the biggest thing we have is a grand square in the sky. By the 8th of this week and through the 13th of next week, we have a grand square in the sky when Mercury finally shifts into place into the third decan of Cancer opposite Pluto. So Mercury will now be opposite Pluto and square the nodes. This is big energy. It's almost like all the planets have been squaring Pluto. But the thing is, I mean, that'll happen every year. No, they might not be in opposition to Pluto every year. But we had Venus, it happened with Venus just like a month ago. It was happening to Mars for quite some time. It's the fact that Pluto's also square the nodes as well. That means there's a huge shift. There's a huge change in metamorphosis in all these planets' energies that cross Pluto's path, and now it's Mercury. Mercury and Pluto are very investigative. They're very, let's dive deep and dig down and find things out. This is the hidden things, the hidden information, or the suppressed conversations that now will shift everything as they confront each other. That's why I feel like, especially with this energy for the moon, there's information that's really going to come out that I think is going to shift people's perspective. So, big week, tremendous. You can feel the rumbling coming, and it's unavoidable. Let's go into a Sagittarius specific energy. What's going on with Jupiter this week? Interestingly enough, not a lot. Jupiter, when the moon is conjunct to Jupiter, is in a very loose trine to Pluto. It's about 10 degrees out, so it's not intense, but it is there. What does that mean? It means that everything is going to be that much more exaggerated and voluminous and explosive. It also is saying that this is change that was necessary and that it's coming to enlighten us and push us forward, because Jupiter's all about advancement and progress. We also have Jupiter this week semi-square to Neptune. So there's working against, in some ways, our own sense of delusion or our own sense of distraction. Maybe being a little bit too distracted or working against people's inability to want to see the truth. That could be a little stubbornness that Jupiter has to deal with this week. We have Jupiter moving in Taurus still between 9 and 10 degrees Taurus. So what's happening in the zodiac sign of Sagittarius? Nothing. There's nothing there. Nothing big, nothing major at all. But we do still have your natal suns there, because your natal suns are a snapshot of where the sun was on the day and time you were born. So if you know that your natal sun is between 0 and 9 degrees Sagittarius, it falls within the first decan or group of 10 degrees of Sagittarius, and so you are Sagittarius ones. This correlates to Sagittariuses who are born on the Scorpio cusp around November 21st, 22nd, 23rd, all the way up through the 30th, maybe even into the 1st of December. This would be you guys. This would be your birthdays. You have some long-term aspects that we've talked about before. Your natal suns are sextile to Pluto, so there are major dynamic changes that are going on, and people take you seriously as soon as you enter the room. And this is a powerful energy for the next few years about your character that can really make anything happen and get anything done. You also have a long-term square to Saturn, at least for this year. So there's this energy of going up against or challenging the norm, rules, laws, regulation, and the status quo in general. And with this sextile to Pluto, you'll be the one to do it, to challenge these energies. And then we have a trine to Neptune if you are at the cusp. So the cusp of Scorpio and Sagittarius, 21st, 22nd, 23rd. You guys would be highly creative. This is extraordinarily beautiful creative energy. Let it flow and find your flow when it comes to your natural abilities, talents, and skills. These are all impacting you for at least the next year. So they could really change your shift or focus or even what you end up doing with your life and for a living. This week, your natal suns are square to Mars, which is volatile energy. It could make you extremely pop-offish and argumentative. It could make you leap to conclusions that you normally wouldn't. It could make you heavily defensive and prideful, and also more prone to injury because you're trying to try things that you really shouldn't. So basically take a few steps back. You'll want to push yourself, especially physically this week. You shouldn't. Stay off the motorcycles is kind of what I'm saying. And there's also a trine to Mercury, which means that when it comes to communications, you're going to be extraordinarily powerful this week, especially with that long-term sextile to Pluto. People will listen. They will believe what you say. You will be able to have your mind and your mouth linked perfectly, articulately. This is a great time to schedule interviews, write an essay, or give a presentation, or do an audition. Anything that has to do with communications, written or verbal, written or spoken, it doesn't matter. You'll be right on point here. Great time to sign contracts or be able to review them. Negotiations are great right now. So all this week, that is a real blessing for you. Sagittarius 2s. If you know that your natal sun falls between 10 and 19 degrees Sagittarius, then you know that your natal sun is in the second decan of Sagittarius and your Sagittarius 2s. Your birthdays usually correlate to December 2nd. December 2nd through the 10th or 11th is in and around where you guys would be falling, depending on the year. So it could be December 1st through the 10th as well, but anywhere from December 1st through December 11th, that could be you guys. So you have a few long-term stuff going on. We'll review that. If your natal suns fall between the 9th or 10th of December, they are trying to Chiron. Now, all of you technically are in a trine to Chiron because Chiron is at the end of the second decan of Aries, but ultimately it's especially those of you born around the 9th or 10th that are feeling that intense healing that comes from healing past traumas and finding a way to make harmony and peace with who you are, and maybe even for others to help them heal as well. You will have a very healing energy about you, including, yes, those injuries to your physical self. For those of you also born around the 9th, 10th, I'm sorry, for all of you really this week, because Jupiter moves into the second decan of Taurus, you are quincunx to Jupiter, which means you want to get things done really quick and really fast, and you'll feel this rush of energy of I'm ready, I want it now. And there's this energy of maybe you're not. So it's going to be hard to not put the cart before the horse for the next couple of weeks, for the next month actually, but you will have to try. It's good. It could be very inspirational and for kind of aspirational in terms of you wanting to get things done, but ultimately it's the expectation of instantaneous gratification that you're going to want to watch out for. If you're born around the 9th, 10th, you also have a quincunx to Uranus, which could be just surprising curveballs flying up at you, and unexpected distractions and proclivities getting in your way of why am I all of a sudden interested in what I shouldn't be interested in? Why am I all of a sudden bored with what I normally am interested in, and now I want to try something different? So it's kind of, for the next couple of years even, you might be surprising yourself with interests that pop up that you never had before. But this week in general, you have a quincunx to the sun, all of you, which is frustrating. It's ego, it's egotism, it's wanting attention, desiring attention, or being more confrontational, like your ego getting more easily damaged or bruised is what it could be. And also a quincunx to Mercury through the 7th of this week. So there's this energy of for you guys, frustrating communications, frustrating not being able to communicate correctly. Kind of think of it as almost a mini Mercury retrograde, the sense of unexpected things popping up, missing things that you'd normally see really easily. So this would not be a great time to try to go real fast through that important paperwork. This would not be a great time to interview or take an important test, or if you do, the caveat will be you have to slow yourself down and you have to pace yourself, because your brain will rush too quickly and you'll rush through things that are important. FYI. So we have Sagittarius 3s. So Sagittarius 3s, if you know your natal sun is between if you know your natal sun is between 20 and 29 degrees Sagittarius, then it falls in the 3rd decan of Sagittarius, and you are Sagittarius 3s. This correlates to birthdays between the 11th and the 21st, maybe up to the 22nd, because sometimes some Sagittarius birthdays go up through that time frame of December. So that would be you guys. And you have a long-term square to Neptune, which means long-term distractibility, also a heightened creativity, and you might be so filled with creative energy that it's starting to distract you. So definitely find a place for it. Find something that you want to create into, and a way that you want to create, because that will help you put that energy someplace progressive. And then we also have a long-term quincunx to Uranus, which is once again also frustrating energy that is it's like I don't want the same things. I'm interested in things that I shouldn't be interested in, or I'm bored with things that I'm bored with the norm. I want something outside the box. You could allow it to encourage you to broaden your horizons and be ingenuitive, but also a sense of it could be frustrating different relationships or situations that you have. So just an FYI, this week, you have a trine to Venus conjunct Mars all week long. So that is harmony when it comes to relationships and your sex appeal and your energy, your sexual energy. This is a really sensual energy, and this could also mean wonderful things for meeting new people, or even just being really romantic in your relationships. there's by the 7th of this week, so by the 7th, there's a quincunx to Mercury, because Mercury will enter the 3rd decan of Cancer, so they will be quincunx to you guys, the 3rd decan of Sagittarius. That means that get all your important stuff done before the 7th, because once that hits, it's almost like Mercury, like a mini Mercury retrograde, like not being able to communicate clearly, important paperwork being rushed over, all of those things. You don't want to sign anything important toward the end of this week. You don't want to take any important tests toward the end of this week. Just let that energy clear. It won't last for long. And then you have, if you were born around the 11th or 12th of December, a trine to Chiron, which means you guys are also feeling that really giving a lot of attention to healing past injuries, hurts, wounds, finding out what can I do with this trauma, with what I've experienced, and how do I turn my suffering into healing for myself and for others. And that becomes sort of the major theme of your life for the next couple of years. So you guys let me know in the comments below how this is impacting you. Always come over to Born Without Boundaries Tarot to get your week ahead tarot card reading, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel so you get these wet messages weekly. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the videos.